So we're gonna start doing a Tautog. This massive, huge 15-pound specimen. I guess he was like 14.7. Swing measures in that here. So looks about 26 inches, man. Almost 27. So if we're looking at that right, 26.5 inches, man. It's a big fish. I mean, just to give you an idea, this is my hand. It's a giant, giant fish. So what I've got going on here is I've splayed the fins out and then put paper behind them, just kind of using its own condensation to stick the fins to the paper so that they kind of stay in place. I watch a lot of Gyotaku artists and they put things underneath. It just gets too messy for me. I just like a simple setup here. So what I've done now, you can see the eye is kind of looks ghastly. But what I did is I put vinegar over the whole fish and scraped all of the slime. And these fish are slimy because they live in the rocks. So if you leave that slime coating on there, you won't get a good print. So that's kind of one tip there. The second is this fish is going to sit here for a long time, probably 3 or 4 hours before I actually get to print it. It is cold. It's been in a cooler and on ice for a long time. So what happens is if you put your ink on, you're going to get condensation. And when you get condensation, you get blotching. So that's the second tip. So once you get rid of the slime, you want to just let the fish sit until it's almost room temperature. So I've got an air conditioner going over here in the studio, and I'm just trying to get the room cool and trying to bring this fish a little bit more up to temperature. Once we get him up to temperature, then I will, wipe the fish off, and then I'll start to ink the fish, and then we'll go from there. So there's a couple little tips. Third tip is, it's kind of gross, but a lot of times when the fish die, their guts kind of come out of their poo hole. So I actually have a big bag of these. Okay, they're just artist sponges. I buy these on Amazon because I can get like a bag of them for $2, $3, where they're like $2 or $3 for 2 or 3 of them in Michael's or other stores. So I just put one in there and I scrunch it down, stick it in, and it kind of opens itself up so it keeps all the innards from coming out. Also, thank God these things don't have a biting reflex. But I try to open the mouth a little bit because, I can't print the teeth necessarily. But what I can do is I can draw them on later. So I like to kind of have the mouth positioned so you can see the teeth. It's kind of like a cool thing to see in your print. I've also taken pictures of all of these spots. Anything unique to this fish, I'm going to try to emulate when I touch it up. Another thing too is behind these fins, you're going to want to get rid of all of the slime. Okay, because what's going to happen is that slime is going to allow the fin to kind of relax again. So, take all the slime off and then spread those fins out. See how they're nice and splayed? Okay, even the back one here. And that's important. The fins, I think, are one of the most important things. And on these fish, this fin right here is very difficult to do. So, try to show you that once I get the ink on it. But, excuse me, just had breakfast. So anyway, 15-pound tog commission coming up. Thanks, Gary. Okay, the Sumi ink. Sometimes it says SUMI -E, but this is what we're using on this Tautog. So what I've done here is I poured some into a container. I have my brush, and the way I generally do it is I don't slop the brush full. I just kind of get enough on there, and then I press either side down. I'm holding the phone, so you would squeegee out the majority of it, so you have some on your brush. And what I do is I just go along the back of the fish heavily, so the top is going to get a heavy coat. So right here, all along the top, and then you're going to back brush it. So you're going to back brush it into the scales. Okay, and try to do this back, brush it into the scales. All right, so there should be a heavier coat, and as you get toward the belly, you want it to be lighter. And as you notice, I just follow the line of what the darker part of the fish is. I mean, I probably can add some here, a little bit maybe. You know, you don't want to add too much. So anyway, I left all of this white. Now, what we're gonna do is take one of our artist brushes. I mean sponges. I fucking love these. And you're basically going to try to remove all of the brush strokes from the brush. And you can't see what's going on. This is what drives me crazy with this. But, you know, you try to jam that ink into the scales. You know, the head doesn't really matter much. And you're also trying to remove any of the excess. You know, you just want a bare amount of ink on here. Okay, and I try not to like press down and pull back up. I actually try to push it in slightly. So if you notice my pattern, it kind of goes like that. Now look, I've got some on here. Not a whole lot, but it's enough to put on the belly. You see? Actually, it's too much, but that's okay. We're just going to keep going with it. We'll figure that out later. So just kind of blend that in, you know, blend this stuff in there. And, you know, obviously you want a clean line across the bottom here. It's really hard to hold my phone. I should have probably figured out a better way. Kind of a novice at educating. Okay, so now the stomach, the belly area is pretty much you know, detailed with a little bit of ink, and I still have the face to do, so I'm just gonna kind of add a little bit of ink here, and then I'm gonna spread that around with my sponge. And you just kind of, you know, try to remove any of the brush strokes and blend in any brush strokes there. So I think she's looking pretty good. You know, and I'm gonna put the phone down because this is a commission. I don't want to screw this up. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna paint the fins and then get a piece of paper on it, and then I'll show you what happens after. But basically, what I'm gonna just do now is paint the fins. Okay, and this long fin back, this fin here, and obviously this one. And then I'm gonna put a piece of paper on it, and then we'll be back with you in a minute. Okay, so we have the Tautog, and here I have handmade washi paper from Japan. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is take that paper and I'm gonna fold it in half. Okay. If you want to center your print, this is the way to do it. So you fold it in half. Once you get it, you just barely pinch that corner. Barely. Come over the other side, and you're just going to even up the edges, you know, so they're not like that, but they're hiding behind each other. And you just barely pinch it. So now you know where the middle of your paper is. Okay. And now that you have the middle, you just kind of hold it in half. See, I've got it holding there. And I'm just going to throw it right on the fish. Okay? And then I'm going to hold it with one hand and then just push it over so it drapes. Okay? And now I'm just going to start rubbing it, you know, rubbing the fish in. You know, the trick is to not wrinkle the paper as much as possible. So, you know, you just rub the fish in with your hands. You know, getting the entire fish and the fins is of utmost importance. The fins are what propels fish through the water, so you want to make sure that they are printed really well. So let me take you on the other side. I'm going to try this one-handed. So I usually need an assistant, or at least both hands, to do this. But there is a 15-pound blackfish Gyotaku. And you know, the lines are pretty good. See, I told you that fin is a real pain, but man, we got it. We got the tail, got this one, got that one. Oh, I gotta work on that jaw a little bit, but that head's like a football. You know, trying to stretch a paper around there, it's crazy. So anyway, there's my first how-to video in quite some time. Okay, so I've been working on this Tautog all day. Printed it and detailed it. So let's see what I did. I added some teeth. The Tautog's gotta have his teeth. I added all of its distinguishing markings. You know, we have these black dots. There was a little area up here where I had to kind of fudge because it had a crease. I had a little crease here, which I kind of tried to fade out. You know, I just filled in between the fins a little bit, you know, just to kind of give it some depth. A little bit of touch up on the tail, not much. There was a little build like right in here where I missed a spot, so I just kind of penciled in some scales to try to fill that in. But it's a big fish, man, and it really was difficult to make a print and teach you guys how to do it. So the last thing is I use color box pigment. Now red is famously bad for the sun. So if you start to choose a pigment to do your Hanko, make sure that you use a good one. And this color box, I've had it for a few years, man, actually, and it works really well. And then this is my Hanko, Manan Maklir, which is the god of the sea and the hunt in Celtic mythology. So, let me just put some in there. And then I usually put my Hanko even with the bottom of the fish, so I'm going to place it right about there. I'm focusing, but anyway, so we're going to put that right there. Bam! Then I have these fancy markers. These are really awesome. They're actually ink inside of them, and then I just sign my name.